Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to, unpack complex topics, cut through some of the noise, and really get to the heart of what you need to know. Okay, let's dive in. Today, we're zeroing in on something pretty recent, a notable incident involving a blockchain network halt. It definitely gave the industry a moment to pause. So our main source for this deep dive is a pretty detailed developer postmortem report. It gives us a really unfiltered look at what exactly went down. And our mission, like always, is to distill what happened, why it's significant for, the broader tech landscape, and what insights it offers about these emerging technologies we're starting to rely on more and more. We want to do this in a way that respects your time, gives you absolute clarity, so you can walk away from this deep dive feeling, truly informed. Expert, this incident involved Coinbase's Base network, right? A big Layer-2 solution built on Ethereum. Can you maybe set the scene for us? What exactly happened on August 6, 2025?
Sure. So what happened was a block production halt on the Base network. It lasted for 33 minutes.
Okay, a block production halt. What does that mean practically for Base?
Well, when we say block production halt on Base, it means for those 33 minutes, new transactions just couldn't be processed. They couldn't be added to the blockchain.
So not just slow, but stop.
Exactly. A complete pause. So, any decentralized applications running on Base, they effectively froze for that whole time. And that immediately raised a lot of eyebrows, especially around Layer-2 stability.
Yeah, a complete pause for 33 minutes? On a major network like Base, that's definitely significant. Now, the postmortem, it mentioned a sequencer failover issue as the root cause. That's a key term, but maybe not instantly clear. Could you break that down for us? Like, what does a sequencer do in this Layer-2 context? And then what went wrong with this failover specifically?
Absolutely. So think of the sequencer as like the heartbeat of a Layer-2 like Base. Its main job is basically to collect all the transactions people submit on the Layer-2, order them, batch them up, compress them.
Right, makes sense.
And then finally submit them to the main Ethereum blockchain, which is Layer 1. So it's really crucial for the network speed and efficiency.
Okay, so it organizes everything. What about the failover part?
Right. So in a well-designed system, you typically have a primary sequencer doing the work, and then a backup one ready to jump in if the primary fails. That's the failover.
Got it. A backup plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the postmortem made it clear this wasn't like a total system crash. It was more subtle. It was an unexpected delay in the primary
Sequencer actually handing over to its backup. So essentially the main mechanism that orders and submits transactions, it kind of got stuck in a transition state.
So it wasn't that the backup couldn't step in, but the system struggled to decide to let it. That delay, that latency in coordination, sounds like the critical part.
Precisely.
What did the Base team actually do during those 33 minutes? How did they figure this out and fix it?
Well, the report details a pretty rapid response. The engineering team got alerted right away by their automated monitoring systems, standard procedure. First, they just confirmed, yes, block production has halted. Then they went through a series of diagnostic steps and pretty quickly pinpointed the sequencer as the problem area. But the real challenge wasn't just seeing that it failed, but understanding why the automated failover wasn't kicking in like it was supposed to.
Right. The why is always the tricky part.
Exactly. So after realizing the automated process was stuck, they actually initiated a manual failover.
Manual.
Yeah, which, requires a series of very careful steps. You have to make sure you don't compromise data integrity in the process. So those 33 minutes, that reflects the time it took to really diagnose that specific failover hangout, then carefully intervene manually, and then finally confirm that block production was back up and running safely.
Fascinating. A manual intervention needed from an automated system. What specific insights, or as we like to call them, nuggets, did they share in the postmortem about
Vulnerabilities this showed. What did they learn that maybe they didn't fully appreciate before?
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The report highlighted that, look, while they had redundancy, the specific mechanism Exactly. That mechanism, and also the precise conditions that should trigger a failover, they realized those needed refinement. The key insight was that even if you have a robust backup ready, if the actual handover protocol has even a tiny flaw, or maybe more subtly, If the primary sequencer is in an ambiguous state, sort of neither fully working or fully offline, the whole system can just hesitate, pause.
An ambiguous state. Like it couldn't make up its mind.
Kind of, yeah. They learned that real-world network conditions, specific internal states, they can create these edge cases that really challenge even failover logic that's been well-tested in simulations. It was a bit of a wake-up call, really, about the nuanced complexity of, distributed consensus and synchronization, especially when you're aiming for high-availability systems.
It really sounds like a lesson in the gap between, say, theoretical redundancy on paper and practical real-time failover when things get messy in a live environment. And for you, the listener, this basically means that even these really advanced systems are constantly being tested and refined by real-world events like this one. So, okay, let's zoom out a bit. Beyond just base, what's the broader implication here for the future of Layer-2 solutions in general, especially as they're growing so fast?
Yeah, connecting this to the bigger picture, I mean, this incident really underscores the ongoing challenges, right? And the critical importance of constantly improving network reliability for these Layer 2. They really are. And this highlights that the journey towards truly decentralized, highly available infrastructure. It's an iterative one. It's step by step. It definitely raises an important question. How do these networks evolve? How do they get better at handling not just the expected failures, the ones you plan for, but also these subtle, ambiguous states that, as we saw here, can bring things to a temporary halt?
Right. And that leaves us with a final thought to maybe ponder on your own. How these seemingly brief interruptions, just 33 minutes on base in this case, how they can actually illuminate really fundamental questions. Questions about robustness, resilience, and ultimately the intricate dance that's required to make sure the technology we're increasingly relying on every single day is, well, reliable. The challenges aren't always about the big catastrophic breaks. Sometimes it's about those tiny, almost imperceptible delays in the critical handovers. Something to think about.